Got to move that. You know what? It's the thinking class, thinking class, thinking class. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Come on, let's get it. Come on, Paul. Sigma's in the place. Joe Blast, Angela Gray, let's get it. What's going on? True Savage, Dre, Random Woman, Therese, everybody in the chat room. This is a thinking class where you gotta move that what? If you're part of the thinking class, you got to move, yo. I didn't say it. You got to move your what? This is the thinking class where you got to move that to the like button. Hit the bell, share, and subscribe. Because you sure enough got that spiritual vibe. Today marks the 8th year my mother has been deceased. If there was ever a time I need to hear about the spiritual side of the game or anything today, it's today. I appreciate everybody here. This is for you, Joe Blast, today. Ted is in the place. You got to move your rear end. Come on. What's up? Ted in the place. Random Woman. Ace is in the place. Let's go. I want to make sure we shout out Joe Blast. Today marks the 8 years my mother has been deceased. And if there was ever a time I needed to hear about the spiritual side of the game or anything today, it's today. I appreciate everybody here. Let's get it. Come on. You got a couple more minutes. We got to get it. Come on. Shout out to the thinking class. You got to move, yo. I didn't say it. Respect and salute to the thinking class. So we're going to get going in a few minutes. Talking about war games. All day. Every day. We got you, Joe. Everybody send some love to Joe Blast in the chat room. Everybody send some love to Joe Blast today. That's how we do it over here. Everybody send some love to Joe Blast over in the chat room. Everybody send some love to Joe Blast in the chat room. Let's go, Joe. Your mom's celebration. Right. Come on. Fierce Soul is here. Jonathan W. Everybody send some love to Joe Blast today. Send some love to him. Everybody send love to Joe Blast. Keep him up. 8 years. He left his mom. His mom left this plane to enter into another plane. Send some love to her. Send some love to Joe Blast. Prayer for you, bro. Nowhere on the YouTube can you get that kind of personal touch. Nowhere on the YouTube can you get this personal touch. Send some love to Joe Blast. You don't know a loss until you lost a parent. You don't know a loss until you lost a parent. Much love and respect to Joe Blast for being a valuable asset to the thinking class. Your presence is valued, brother. That's what I'm talking about. You don't know a loss until you know a loss. Of a parent. You don't know a loss until you know a loss of a parent. Celebrate your celebrating you, Joe. Rest in power. Come on, facts. Driving. All right. You got to understand what I'm saying. Amen. Hopefully moms will get the spirit tip we send out and join us. Come on. Amen. Nothing like a parent or a grandparent that raised you. Come on. Shout out to the Cheech. What's going on? We got to send out love to Joe Blast. Thank you, class. Oh, wow. Cover Joe today. This is for Joe. Let's go. Today is for Joe. You don't know a loss until you lost a parent. You don't know a loss until you lost a parent. This is for Joe Blas. 8 years, he said today, he lost his mother. There's others who lost parents. So you need to send love. So what we realize, we talk about the spiritual side of the game, but we're so personable that we want to make sure we send love to Joe Blas. You don't know how close he was with his mother. You don't know what he needs right now. So we sending love to Joe Blas. Sending love to Joe Blas. You don't know. If you understand the loss of a parent and the parent that you were close with, we're talking about the spiritual side of the game. Join to Wally World and listening in. Driving to Wally World. My condolences to my brother, my homie in the game, Joe Blas. Sigma, we got this is for you, Joe. I know your real name, but this is for you. We are sending love, and those who have lost a parent. This is the thinking class. Is not just learning about game, but we know that the importance of the game of being personable and able to touch those that need it. So this is for Joe Blas. His real name is Isaac. Shout out to him. That's how we do it here. Nowhere on the YouTube where you get this personal touch. Where you're able for the content creator to actually reach out to you and say, hey, we got you, bro. We got you, bro. You're not the only one who lost a parent. And today, this happened to be your day where we honor you. Where we honor you. So let's go. Woo! I'm going to burn the candle and say a prayer for you today, Joe. That's what I'm talking about. Isaac, you and your mom are always welcome to the spiritual family. Well, this is what I'm talking about. This is what we do here. The thinking class is not just predicated on one side. This is real game. Y'all want to know what real game is? It's when you're able to transcend from off of YouTube and touch someone. That's real game. So y'all want to know what real game is? This is the spiritual side of game. When you can console your brother or your sister. This is real game. The thinking class got a spiritual circle around you, bro. This is for Joe Blas. You listening in, you wondering, hey, why are we doing this? We're going to talk about the spiritual side of the game. You meet the one but you, but I'm telling you, this is the game for real. This is Lawrence D. Adams and the thinking class. So So let's get it. 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 No, wow. Know that your mom lived a good life, and she always looking over you, and all your ways influence your success. Come on. You guys are getting it. This is what the thinking class do. Y'all wondering what's going on? Y'all listening in? What's going on? What's going on today? Why are we listening? Why are we here? You're listening to a thinking class, and we're about to get started in a few minutes. But now we cannot start the show. We gotta get past that point and get to where we need to be at. And I want to drop this right here. I'm just looking for the song. So this is just for Joe Blast too, just to get it going. Come on, everybody. You know what day it is. It's Tuesday. We're here to take over. We can't keep you in a slump. You gotta grieve, but now you gotta get up and succeed. This is the thinking class. Let's get it. Come on. This spiritual connection is heavy in the thinking class. Let's get it. Come on, lions. Come on, lioness. Let's take over. Come on. Come on. Let's get it. Get it. Let's get it. Come on. We're taking over. Shout out to the thinking class. Let's get it. Come on. We're talking about the spiritual side of the game. Come on. Let's get it. To rise up and take over. Yeah, we worldwide, baby. Get it, come on. Get it. Get it. Come on. Get it. Get it. Come on. Get it. Get it. Come on. Get it. Come on. Get it. Get it. Come on. Get it. Shout out to everybody in the thinking class. Let's get it started today. Shout out to everybody that's listening, who's watching in the clouds, who don't be saying anything, but be watching in the clouds. I hear you about it later on. You say, oh, I've been watching in the clouds. I see you 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 watching. Hit that like and everybody. What's going on, Viking? What's going on? Yeah, everywhere we go. Wow, that's right. We're taking over. So I want to talk about the spiritual side of the game. Shout out everybody in the chat room. Much love to everybody in the chat room. Let's get it going. The spiritual side of the game. Yesterday we went in. If you missed yesterday, you need to go back and recap because we went in. See if my dude's coming in. Send him a link. Okay, he did get it. Okay. Probably cut a minute before he come in. But I want to make sure you guys get what I'm talking about. See, look at this. This is what I'm talking about. Enough respect, thinking class. That's what I'm talking about. We got you, bro. Yeah. This is what we do over here. So while you thinking that we just talking about game and finessing and all like that, we actually touching people's lives. So it's deeper than just game, because game is life, but that's another conversation. But let's get to what we were talking about today, the spiritual side of the game. As we laid down yesterday, some serious thinking beat. Yeah. So while we lays out some serious game yesterday, you better catch all day. See, this is nothing but love, man. We know today it's especially uneasy, but you are not alone. We are surrounding you with love and light. Joe Blast. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you for the show. Yeah. What's going on? Jono is here.
What's going on?
What's going on, man? We had to go in a little bit with Joe because today marks the 8th year that his mother had passed away.
Salute.
And we had to send some love to him, man, because I think a lot of times people forget. We talk about game over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm just trying to look for this song. I'm going to play it back again. We talk about game over here. We don't realize that we're not just content creators. We are real people who touch real people.
Salute, Joe Blast. Please accept my condolences to your mom and may she rest in peace.
That's what we do over here, John, all right?
Absolutely.
I lost a parent. You lost a parent.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And so while we think we can talk, I really got a whole gamut of things I could talk about the spiritual side of the game, but you came back in, it's like, go with this flow. Because I understand the loss of a parent. And I was really, really, really close to my dad.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember.
And it took me years to even process the loss that I had with my dad.
It's true. In almost contrast, I didn't know how close I was to my dad until he died. My dad was a Eucharistic minister. He used to visit the sick and the shut-in. He used to literally, he wasn't like a full-fledged pastor, but he was definitely a lay reader, a minister. He would assist with, doing communion, helping, and I'm like, man, I didn't realize, and he was a professional photographer.
Yep.
So it's like, I followed my dad more than I ever thought I would, even though, it wasn't like he wasn't in my life. He was definitely, a father figure, reared me from, because my mom was like a high-powered exec. He's the one that was home at 6 o'clock, even though he had a job at an advertising agency. He was home at 6 o'clock. And he's the one that took care of us in the evenings and made sure we got to dinner and got to bed, everything like that. My mom was more like the social party type. We'll make dinner parties for the house so people can come over, and she did it more so for making sure that the extended family had a way to come in. But I realized I'm a lot like my dad, and I didn't realize it until.
So even though they might not be on this plane, doesn't mean that we lost them. They're on a different plane.
You can see some of his very simple, like when you always see me say the word common denominator, that is a direct quote from my dad.
Yeah.
And I don't hear nobody saying that. That was from my dad. He said, break things down to the least common denominator, because if you make things so complicated, 56 over 112 is the same as 1 over 2. But see, when you look at it as 56 over 112, it looks kind of complicated. You don't realize it's 1 over 2. You just got to break it down to the least common denominator. And that stuck with me. I'm telling you.
Right.
My brother's 12 years older than me, so he is actually my real godfather too. And the things that he said to me, the things that my dad said to me, listen, they stuck with me my whole life. And trust me, even though you don't think you have an impact on some people, you do. You just have to be the level of strength that penetrates their subconscious. And that's why we're talking about spiritual side of the game.
Look at this, Isaac. Know that you are built to last, a rare breed. I know this one. I know this of you, and you are definitely moving in the proper direction. Your journey is just beginning. I understand the loss of a parent to my mom almost 2 years ago. True Sabbath. See. So why people don't understand what we do over here? This is the spiritual side of the game for real. When you can able to touch the hearts and the minds of the people and make an impact. Man, these people are going in. This is Isaac. Isaac, we got you. We got to stay in touch, bro. My mom moved ahead when I was 8. Over 14 years ago. 14 years ago now. Stay strong, big dog. Look at it.
You know what I was thinking about? Even from what yesterday's subject was supposed to be, like the war that we have sometimes is accepting our ancestry. You know what? Sometimes you are supposed to feed off your ancestors. There's a lot of cultures that don't feed off their ancestry. They feed off their ancestry and they win. Okay? And I don't want to get into a whole bunch of cultural, racial stuff, but if you think about it, look at some of the other communities. The Caucasian community, the Asian community, the Spanish community, the Indian community, the Chinese. Listen, I'm telling you, especially in the Black community, we don't feed off our ancestry because our ancestry involves a lot of turmoil.
Yeah.
A lot of suffrage. But you understand, there was a lot of power that came out of that suffrage. We have some of the most inventive personalities. We have contributed so much if you just look at the history. And we need to give our ancestry a lot more credit. That's why when we said we honor our grandmothers, we honor our mother. I'm to be honest with you, I've never met any of my grandparents in person because of how old they were. My mother had me at 39. And I got 2 younger brothers and, like I said, an older brother. I'm telling you, my dad was 5 years older than my mom. So I never met my grandparents. And I still honor them. I honor my family's ancestry and I honor the history that they built because I know every decision they made brought me to this point. And I think that the best way to honor a past loved one is to think about their legacy and where the impact of their legacy sits in your life. And if you could do that, you're giving a place to something important as opposed to some of the negativity you allow to rest in there instead of what's necessary. You see what I'm saying?
Right. You're right on the money. It is interesting because I was on a journey about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, before my great uncle came from California. Came, stayed with my aunts, and he said he wanted to go back to West Virginia where my father's people are from. I took my youngest son. I said, Uncle June, I need you to tell me about my grandfather. Tell me about the family. So he gave me some names. I was able to trace my family all the way back to slavery. But it was interesting is the stories that I heard that my great uncle told me about what my family did. I had an uncle that actually worked at the White House. A great uncle that worked at the White House. Then I'm thinking about my great grandfather who owned property, who would kill you if you came on his property back in the 1930s. So we got to realize that our ancestors are like a great cloud around us.
Yeah.
What they want to do is say, go, 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 go.
Exactly. I mean, you're not going to believe this, but I think you saw a picture I posted up. It looked like a very old picture. I don't know if you looked.
Yeah, I seen that.
That was my grandfather and my grandmother in 1921 with their 2 young children. My mother was actually born 21 years after her older sister. So you can imagine in 1921 to be a 7-year-old, 8-year-old kid coming out of a pandemic, the economy suffering, going into the crash of 29. We're talking about 100 years ago right now, right? My grandfather built a real estate empire that allowed every one of his children to be brownstone owners, including multiple property owners in Brooklyn. He did this in the middle of a pandemic and the depression. There was no depression at the beginning. When you saw that picture,
yeah,
there was no depression yet. And that's not like my great-great-grandfather. That's my grandfather, my actual grandfather, my mother's father. And guess what his name was? David.
Here we go.
That's his name. His name was David Hurd. So we resonated again. I don't know how we picked up on the spirit, but I figured guess what? Sometimes the war that we have on the spiritual side of the game is the fact that we don't give these people the right honor. And I never met my grandfather. I honor him. He came here from Jamaica with his wife, and they met through letters. They wrote each other letters. They never met each other. And they came here and started life. He had a $80 pocket. He had a pocket watch and $80. And he never pawned the watch. My brother has this watch right now to this day. The same pocket watch. Because he knew to retain some value in his life. Something you'll never give up. And I'm telling you, I listen to these stories and I feed off of it. This is why I'm a homeowner. This is why I've owned multiple houses at this point. Because I feed off of from my family's ancestry. And no, they didn't buy me any of it. There was no inheritance. There was no, trust. It's not like when we say hand down, we're not handing down little physical accounts, which is what we should be doing. But I took on the spirit from my family and staked my own claim. My brother did the same, stake his own claim. My other brothers taking their own claim. We all have to feed off our ancestry and become something, not just take from them.
So what they're doing, if Joe Blash, you could catch this, she's sending the baton. I think we talked about that before.
Absolutely.
So that you can run the next leg of the race.
They set it up for you. That's what the Bible says it. Honor thy mother and thy father. And that's not just your physical parents. It's anybody who pours into you. You're not supposed to take from them. You're supposed to accept the mantle they're trying to pour into you and then recreate it in your perspective. And then you can become them and you honor them by carrying the torch into the next generation. That's what you're doing. And we don't talk about this a lot. We talk about, what are you going to do for me? Oh, are you going to pay for my college? What are you going to do? No. You know what? I already understood. Even though my mom was like, she had 4 children. And she had a son that had a kid at the same time she had a kid. Can you imagine that? My brother is the same age as my nephew. So I can imagine she was taking care of a lot back then. There was no way she was going to save up for college for us. But you know what? Of course I could be resentful about it, but I ain't making a burden on her. I took it on to myself. And I decided whether I want to go to school. I decided whether I told you, instead of going and carrying that big, heavy loan, I decided a different kind of loan, a mortgage. You see what I'm saying? But I took that on from my mom's example, from my grandfather's example. They didn't go to school, but they were into real estate. Just do it. Take the examples from your family, the good examples. And if you have bad examples, learn from them. Those are not supposed to be ignored either. If you feel that there's been issues of fright or abuse, learn from it. Learn not to do it. Learn not to put yourself in jail from a family member that may have put themselves in jail. You can learn from good examples and bad examples. It's not all a bad story to tell. Let's see, what's Pure Soul saying here? He says, that's so deep, Jono. It's been on my spirit to take over my grandmother's property. I guess it's a slight fear of the responsibilities that come with that since the house is old, but it's workable. Think about it. When a car gets old, it gets depreciated in value. When a house gets old, it's appreciated asset. There's nothing you could do to that house to take away the value. And when you say old house, guess what? That's new money. Okay? Because that house, once you fix it up, you can decide to do one of 4 things. And this is what I want to teach my children. You could either landlord the house out and rent it. You could Airbnb it. You could go live in it and have a paid off property if it's already paid off. I don't know if the mortgage is paid. That's your business. You could also sell it. And I'm just telling you, whatever you work on it is your choice, because it's literally a bag of money sitting in your hand. You should never be afraid of real estate. Real estate, for whatever you think you got to pay landscaper, trust me, whatever fees you'd pay for owning a townhouse and somebody else doing that work, it's going to be way more. Everybody thinks, oh, I got to buy a roof. So what? The 10 grand for that roof, you get it back in the value of the property when it goes up in value. Don't be afraid of real estate.
Look at this. The thinking class, man. This is a unique type of people here, man. You notice that?
There's not one person. I'm going to tell you right now. You're absolutely right, LDA. There's not one person that's going to hear that story that already owns a house. They're going to tell you jump on it. Watch in the comments.
Right.
Watch in the comments. Anybody who owns a house, they're going to tell you, you need to get this thing going.
Pierce, look at that. Reigning woman. Please take over it for your soul. You definitely got to talk. Look at this. Look at this.
Your grandmother is literally trying to hand you a bag of money. And I understand people get attached to property, get attached to physical things. No, it's really about handing down a legacy. And the principle of doing something responsible with that property is what the example is trying to be told here. Be responsible with it. Do something smart that multiplies. Nobody's going to get mad at you if you find a way to multiply that money. I promise you. The people that get mad are people that squander the money. The people that throw it all away and don't use it as an investment. Okay? Now, whether you keep it or not, it doesn't matter. The point is you manage it and show yourself responsibility to the inner you and watch what manifests externally in the physical realm.
This is the spiritual side of the game. Okay, no way around it. So are you warring, since I said the war games, are you warring with your ancestors who are trying to take you to the next level?
Yeah, that's the thing. We could sit here and really debate over it because she was like, oh, you know, I didn't get this, I didn't get that. That's selfish. Okay, you don't know what you missed by accepting the fact that you didn't get.
Ooh, this is heavy, man.
What did you deny in your family? What did you deny in your ancestry that's stopping you from greatness right now? Some people here, and I'm gonna take it down a whole other road. Some of you have a history in your family of abuse.
Right.
It's been ignored across generations of abuse. And I'll say it from two perspectives. You have substance abuse, you have physical abuse. It's been accepted across generations. When are we going to break this generational curse of abuse? Okay, we carry that torch before we'll carry the legacies. That's the war we need to win. The war on abuse. All of a sudden now in your family, something, oh, this could happen, and nobody said anything because generationally shut off. You could change it by the one speaking up. You the one to start with an intervention. You could be the one to break the tie that will keep that chain going into another generation. I've experienced several types of abuse in my life. Several types. And I'll tell you this, I didn't pass that on to my kids. They don't deserve it.
Right.
They never deserved it. They never deserved it. They don't even know what it's like. Of course they'll hear me yell. I don't know anybody who doesn't yell. I don't know anybody who doesn't scream. But that physical abuse that takes the place of verbally trying to work something out and get to somebody on mental levels, I didn't want to pass it on to my kids. I don't think they deserved it. What I experienced living in Brooklyn, even though everybody, oh, Brooklyn, you know, everybody's like, that's like, listen, there's some real lessons taught on those streets. I didn't want to expose my kids to that.
Right.
I wanted it to be in a closed environment. Yeah, they're going to learn some of the same lessons I learned, but they're going to learn on my terms. It's not going to be dangerous for them. For me, it was dangerous. Okay? For me, walking a mile and a half to school was dangerous. It wasn't just about a walk. It wasn't just the fact that I had to toil on the bus on the B44 and then the B25. Those are the two buses I had to take. Of course, I was robbed at gunpoint. The guy said, "Oh, you think you're not a real gun?" He shot the gun and blew out the glass behind me. I thought I was going to be dead. You know what? I'm going to teach my kids the same type of lessons without making it dangerous for them. See what I'm saying? That's the legacy you pass in your family. Okay? I can resent the people who I felt were abusive to me, but I'm not going to pass it on to them. And I don't think they deserve the impact. Yeah, it made me a good person. But I even had a conversation with my mother recently. Like, someone says, she's like, yeah, but I didn't know. And think about it. By the time it's time to make people held accountable, you can't make people in your family held accountable in their 80s. They're so disconnected from the reality of what happened that long ago. You can't accept it. They don't know why it took so long to get over this or get over this. It's because some of that abuse was never addressed. That's the war. That's the war within. Can you address your transgressions that have affected you throughout life? Sharice Sharp says, that hits home, Jono. Physical and substance abuse in my family. Not having that for my boys. Let's break these generational curses. See, that's exactly what I'm saying.
People don't understand that.
It's going to get quiet for a lot of people, too, because they're going to, making a nerve. I don't mind pinching you. You know why? Because sometimes I don't want to get graphic, but sometimes the pus needs to come out so that you can heal. Don't mind getting pinched. All right? That abscess is not supposed to be there. Okay? Sometimes you got to go to a professional and get the abscess drained. Don't walk around with a cancer literally hanging on you. And that cancer could be literally a mental block. It don't have to be physical, but sometimes it expresses itself physically. Get rid of your pain. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm a proponent of therapy. I've been in therapy twice. You should graduate from it, like Kevin Samuel says, but you need to recognize when you should be in therapy. That's something I really agree with him about. Recognize that you need to be in therapy and fix your issues if you cannot take yourself on a mental journey to get it there yourself. Look at Viking. Facts, John. My dad was a drunk. But he did everything he could not to pass all that was done to him onto me. And it shows. Because you approach things totally different than most people who've been abused.
Connection is coming back into play for us. You must all listen and move accordingly. Yeah? Come on. We man, this is heavy today, dude. What is this whole spiritual side of the game has been back, John. If not removed, it will continue to grow. Break down and bring on our breakthrough.
This was for somebody. You know what? I repeated my story many times. Every time I tell them a couple things about what I know about a situation, even though it hurts me, it heals someone else. You know why it doesn't reflect in my personality? Because I filed it away properly. But there's some people who have not addressed this. You got to address it. And I really, really, of course, I'm going to say the word pray because it does mean something. I pray for the healing of anybody who hasn't dealt with this.
It's funny you say that because I was going to touch today. It came to me, I was driving today, talking about the spiritual side of the game and the war that there has to be healing. Maybe we go back, we'll touch on that even tomorrow. The healing aspect that needs to be taking place. There's a lot of people who need to be healed while your relationships with your family, with other individuals are not working because you have not went to the spiritual side of the game and got healed to move forward.
Yeah. Listen, I can sit here and say I was, the best person ever. Listen, I know I need to be healed from some stuff right now. Like, I know that I have compulsive tendencies. I know I can slip into a routine real fast, and it'd be this. I would like to get similar results. I even teach on that, like getting multiplied and similar results from doing the same thing. But there has to be balance in your life. Okay, you can't just get into one routine. Okay, it's called muscle memory. It's the reason why I don't need glasses right now. Oh, you stare at screens all day long. You should have glasses. You should have carpal tunnel syndrome. You type on the computer all day long. Actually, it's not true. I change up positions physically all day long so that my eyes and my hands don't get used to anything. So even in my 40s, when I've been on the computer literally as long as I can count, I'm talking a good portion of my adult life. We're talking 35 years on a computer, probably, and now we're talking easily 25 years being a professional. I have not grown the physical ailments that some of the people in my industry has had because of muscle memory. Don't let your body get used to any one complacency. And then I branched that out to even more. That's why I bought a rowing machine. That's why I have elliptical. I want to get more physically after sitting down this long. You definitely gain weight. You definitely have issues with your body having stamina issues. And you know what? I'm going to cut that stuff out because the longer you take to do it, in your 40s, say in your 30s, you're not going to feel it. In your 40s, you start to feel it. In your 50s, you will not be able to turn back from certain habitual behaviors. And that's what my goal is. I want to turn around in my 40s to be a more physical person, to be a more agile person in areas where my body did get used to certain things so that I don't have to worry about my 50s and my 60s. I don't have to be in a wheelchair when some people I know are in their 80s still walking around.
Kicking.
You know what I'm saying? I'm preparing for 40 years in the future.
This show is for somebody. This is for Joe Blaz. But somebody else who's listening to this is for you. I don't know. I can't pick you up. I'm still feeling around. But this show, we're supposed to talk on something else. But we're talking on what we're supposed to. But this is for somebody who needed to hear this. Not only is it resonating with you, but this is going to bring some healing, much healing that is needed in your life. Because you've been bottling all this up inside of you, and it's time for you to have a release.
You know what I heard? I heard somebody's carrying the wrong generational mantle. Somebody's carrying the wrong generational mantle. You're carrying the story of the hurt, and you're not carrying the story of the victory. And guess what? The story is told by the narrator. You could change the outcome of that story just by doing it the right way. Don't carry the mantle of hurt. Carry the mantle of victory.
And it's interesting you say that because I thought about my grandfather, my biological grandfather. Came from Alabama up to West Virginia. And back then they called beer gardens. So it was just a bar. So what he would do in that time, it was prohibition time, you know what I mean? But he had several beer gardens where he would run the county and supply those beer gardens. He was a businessman. Fast forward, my grandmother, who had a child with my biological grandfather, she married a man who was an entrepreneur. He had a restaurant. He had a tree business that he had for years. So you need to take on like you said, take on the mantle of what? Of the good that's from the generation past. Jonas McCall is forever etched in my mind. I spend the most time with him. Why? Because he's a generation that poured into me. Do I take that away from him? No. Was he perfect? No, neither am I. But what we have to do is learn, like you said, to go into the spiritual side of the game and pull the what? The blessing or stop looking for the generational curse and start looking for the generational blessing and wear the mantle for the next generation.
You got to look at it like this. The Creator created all things. Okay, the ability for something to go good, the ability to go something bad. Okay, so if you only remember the negative side of a situation, that's a choice that you've made, and that's something the Creator also did. Thank God that the Creator gave us a choice, right? But the reason why you have choice is so that you could choose correctly. Okay, the reason why there's good and evil is because you have to know the difference between the two. And you listen, evil will always be here because it is the pool to dip in anytime your mind wants to go sideways. But it's up to you to climb out of that pool. It's up to you to decide that negativity is not your portion. It's up to you to realize that going down the wrong road is incorrect. Okay? That's why it exists. It exists so you can choose. If everything was always good all the time, like I said, let's God good all the time. It's like you hear that because those are nursery rhymes for adolescents. But when you get to adulthood, that same Sunday school recitings will stick in your mind because it's going to point you in the right direction when you are faced with evil, when you are faced with bad, when you are faced with wrong. It's a choice, though. Choose you this day. It's right in the Bible. Choose you this day. We said it before. Now, the choice you make is important for the direction you go. So, evil and bad, the things that happen in your lifetime. This is where we're bringing this up. The bad things that happen don't always have to have the bad story attached to it. Put the positivity that came out of it. Put the lesson in it. Not the loss, but the lesson. And you will have your positive outcome. It doesn't always have to be this negative narrative. Let your story be told the right way so that it can teach someone else. Put that positive spin on it, not just your internal abuse. Put that positive spin on it so that everyone can benefit from it.
I love this space. The Deacon class is a gracious, blazing fire. It's set up that way on purpose. Speak it, John. There we go. All right. I'm actually learning to live outside of the survival mentality. My mom had to take on so much. So my dad, due to my dad's alcoholism, I'm learning to be more gentle, soft, and feminine. See, come on. That comment needs to be highlighted even right there.
Look at that. See, and I got a statement for survival, okay? If you're surviving, then you're not thriving. If you're surviving, then you're not thriving. And you have to pick one. Okay? Survival cannot be your affirmation. Survival may be your reality. Survival may be the definition of the current state in mind, but your affirmation, your mantra is supposed to be thriving. You're supposed to have more than enough. There are people that have more than enough. You know why? Because they think they're supposed to, and they act accordingly. When you're always in survival mode, all you're gonna have is just enough. You're always gonna have just over broke. What's the acronym? Just over broke.
Yeah, job.
You heard that?
Yeah,
just over broke. If you spell the first three letters of just over broke, what is that?
Just job.
Oh. Think about it. You've been taught to have a job. Have you been taught to have a career?
It's funny you say. You know what? Yesterday I came home. Guess what happened, John?
What happened?
Does not make most.
I went to the mailbox and there was a check.
In fact, he uses a simple, unique.
Look at that, blessings upon blessings.
It was a check. Man, this. I don't know which transition. When we talk about the spiritual side of the game, but
Listen, we're supposed to have a legacy to pass on. Okay. Now, are you gonna have a legacy going from job to job to job, just making enough ends meet? Ever heard that? Ends meet?
Yeah.
Now, trust me, we're not trying to hate on anybody that has a real hustle, a real work ethic. We're not hating on anybody. We're trying to say is it working for your situation? Thrive means you'll take the job and you'll work another shift, 4 to 6 hours, 8 hours, even after your job. And that 4 to 6 hours would be on your future, not just your present. You understand? The employers, first of all, I think I've said this before, and let's just be really, really honest, okay? Anybody who employs you, they make 3 times the money that you're worth.
Of course.
Okay, why would they pay your taxes? Why would they pay their own unemployment insurance? Why would they be willing to pay your benefits? Why would somebody be willing to pay all this money you never see to even have you exist in their company? Think about it. If you make $15 an hour, they're willing to pay upwards of $10 more per hour to have you exist so they can legally employ you, right? So they're paying $25 just to have you there. The $25 is nothing compared to what they're making off of you. So if you have a $15 job, think about it. The person who is paying you is making $75. Absolutely, without question. Whether you're union, whether you're not, whether you're self-employed, whether you're not really self-employed. I'll say whether you're a contract employee, whether you are any kind of W-2, any kind of 1099, you are worth 3 times what you're there for. No bones about it. Why don't you find out the other 2/3 and go get the rest of your money?
You said that some clicked in. Some people have not tapped into the spiritual side of the game to understand this generational blessings that their other generations left to push them past a job.
Exactly, and that's how the economy is fooling us. Common sense is not common.
Right.
Okay, common sense is not common. You are making 1/3 of what you're worth. Doesn't matter what job you're working at. Do you think McDonald's would hire you for $10 an hour if they weren't making 50? And you say in your mind, oh, well, that's just how business works. Of course it is. But do you need to stay in the matrix? Do you need to stay making 1/3 of the money you deserve? It's really 1/6, but we're not going to talk about that part. A lot of people who are self-employed don't take care of their own benefits, and that's where it's 1/3. Get it? But you're making 1/6 of your value because somebody was willing to value your health insurance more than you. And I know we're going into a whole other tangent, but somebody needs to hear this part too. Okay? That's what you really need to be at war at. You're at war with the fact that you are sitting in a job making 1/3 of the money that you're worth. I learned that 18 years ago, and I'm never looking back. I'm never going to let somebody make that kind of money off of me without making the amount I want first. Okay? There are people that made millions of dollars off of me. No bones about it. And by no way am I saying that I'm a multi-millionaire right now. No. But if you made $1 million, I definitely got the hundreds of thousands I wanted. You get what I'm saying? There was no way you're going to make $1 million off of me at $10 an hour. No way. You know why? Because I chose who I was going to be that day.
That's good right there. You chose who you were going to be that day.
Exactly. And trust me, I worked for Goldman Sachs. I had a great salary. I had benefits. I had all kinds of stuff. I'm talking about the fact that I knew that I was worth $250 with that $80,000 salary. I knew I was worth $250. So you know what I did? I went and I suffered with a $5,000 a month contract and left there to go look for the $250. I knew if I could make $50,000 on my own and I kept the whole $50, the $250 was easy to do. I just had to multiply it. And when I say suffered, trust me, I suffered. I was getting divorced at the time. Everybody thought I was crazy. Like, wait, you selling your house? You're getting a divorce? And you're gonna quit your job too. You got a corporate job. You got a BMW. I had an Acura MDX. I'm talking about when I was 24 years old. 24. I had everything I needed. That everybody would say, "Oh, you're the man." I would. There would have been no reason. I had a 5 Series. I had everything. I had Durango. I had 3 cars, a house, a wife, a job. I gave it all up because you know what? That level of comfort was not my happiness. And by the time I was 28, I was married again. I was in the house 4 times that price. I had my daughter with twins on the way. I had my own business, doing $1 million a year in business. So just because somebody else thinks that life is for you, doesn't mean it's your life. Okay? Sometimes you challenge yourself to greater levels, and there's something really there for you. There's no limit to what you can have. You just have to go get it. And that's what I did. And I'm officially happier 15 years later. My 20s was not happiness. It was learning. It was leveling up. And I had to get through a lot of things. But now I'm happy. You know what? They will level up again. I'm not stopping here.
Because it's always time to upgrade.
Absolutely.
Woo. This is heavy today. Challenge your mindset. You guys are getting it. Now I'm going to ask the magic question. Did this broadcast resonate with anybody in the chat room? Let me know if this has resonated with you on any level. Let me know if this has resonated with you on any level. Because it was so heavy today, man. I don't like that sound. This is heavy today. If this has resonated with you on any level, anything that was said today, let us know in the chat room. I mean, did it resonate? Or did you really like, wow, that wasn't expecting this today? Resonating heavy. Wow, you guys are getting it. Confirms my next move. Come on. That's right, because I seen that you have a business. I celebrate the bills that come in. Worrying brings you nowhere. It makes no sense. The process of disrooting that limitation, self-infliction is done. Come on. Resonating deeply. This was a great live today for me and the bigger class. Yes, it was. Hey, Rainy Woman, okay. Yes, resonating. Yes. 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 Come on. Good. You can't make this up, John, can you?
I celebrate my pain. I celebrate my pain because every time I think it's a bad story, I tell, yo, you know what I've been through? All of a sudden, it helps somebody. So I love telling that story.
You guys really spoke to and lifted my soul and spirit today. Love and respect. This one was for you, Joe Blast, Isaac. This was for you. The subconscious absorbed it all. Come on, you guys are getting it. No, Monica. It aligned with what I realized yesterday. Legacy, family, and ever-present ancestors. Come on. Moving from online to storefront in a different city. Come on. Yes, confirmation. Bless Joe Blast. Thank you, LDA and Jono. Today was something else. We're doing it. We're doing it. But you know, we gotta end with the lion. Y'all gotta roar. So you know what beat's coming up next. If we don't play this beat, you know it's over now. It's for everybody. Grab what your ancestors is laying for you to have. What does it say? And I think the Bible says that we are surpassed with such great cloud of witnesses, right?
Yep.
Y'all better hear what they're saying. They're like, go, 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 go. I feel as if I'm coming out of a meditation right now. That's right. Triumph beat. Come on.
Anything that downloads information to your conscious is a meditation. Even a lesson is meditation because you're paying attention.
See, they got the lines. Come on, come on, come on. You already know it. LDA John and all the active members of the Thinking Class, you have strengthened my resolve. Let's move forward together. Come on. Get it. You already know what it is. Keep going. Ancestor spirit for spiritual force. We gotta tell me this spiritual game of the ancestors. Woo, that would be crazy. Get it.
You ever look at the family tree and you can just see like all this presence above you, just downloading information to you. Look at your family tree. Look at how powerful things are. You're literally at the end. You're a connecting point of a powerful tree.
Yeah, I don't know how powerful they are.
Powerful people. Powerful wisdom. Whew. Imagine if you just tapped into that power. Hundreds of people in your family. All those experiences, all of them focused with your name on it. Wow.
You know what's interesting to be talking about this? Let me drop the music on this. I was talking to my mother this weekend. And she wanted to find out about her father.
Interesting.
His last name is Mr. Williams. I know where he lived at. Now I have to go back and trace and find him. In all these years, she's been trying to find information about him. And it came up this weekend. We began to talk about it. I said, I'll find him online. I'm probably got to do is go down to the local library and go trace and find out who owns the property where he was. So it's interesting. All this comes full circle right now. Ancestors talking. Facts, John. I'm constantly getting downloads. Shout out to the Thinking Class. I'm telling my ancestors I'm grateful and honored to carry their name and DNA. I love that. Trav in the plate. Trav. Hey, yo, get the likes up. Go, subscribe now. Go. Getting it. What? There it is. I'm open to receive the download. This is crazy, man. This beat makes me want to do conquering a hidden land. Right.
On the beach.
The beat, man. I created that about a year or two ago, man. But we got to get out of here, man. Peace to the Thinking Class. John O. LDA. Hurry up. Peace. Hey, get your mama. We out. Peace.